Hi everyone, it's Al, plumber again. I'm going to today show you how to solder two bits of copper tube together using a solder fitting. Now this is for an end feed fitting, not the one that's got the solder in it, which is called Yorkshire. These we call Delcop fittings, and they don't come with any solder in them. Now if you're doing the biggest project, I'd advise getting the Delcops with the real solder, because it will work out a lot cheaper. If you're doing a small job, putting some taps in or something, we just need to cut a pipe, couple of fittings, then I would advise you to get Yorkshire fittings which have a solder ring inside them, and you won't need the solder. So that depends really on what you're doing. But if you are going to use Delcop in these, I'm going to show you how to solder one properly. Now I've got a little tool here that I've shown on another video that will clean these, and cleanliness is the most important part of soldering. This little tool, as you can see, just twists around inside the fitting and cleans it for me without too much grief. Okay, as I say, I've got another video on this. It's a monument cleaner, and the other end as well, for the bits of pipe we're going to join, it will clean them by putting it inside and just twisting it round. Okay, that gets that pipe nice and clean. Just to make sure, if you've got brand new pipe, you probably haven't got to matter too much about cleaning it, because brand new pipe, if it's not oxidised too much, you can pretty much get away with just putting the flux straight on it, and it will take without any cleaning. But in most cases, if it's old stuff or stuff tube that's been lying around before you've got time to use it, or it looks oxidised, I would suggest you clean it first, either with this or a bit of emery cloth, or wire wool, if you haven't got one of these, which obviously most of you probably won't have unless you do a lot of plumbing. Okay, so there we are. Once you've got that clean, next thing is to put our flux on. I like this stuff. It's called Powerflow flux. I particularly like that. It's nice and soft and runny inside. But I mean, other ones you can get, which I like, Everflux. That's that one, which is pretty good. Goes a bit lumpy after a while. It's the only thing I can say about this one. It does get a lumpy texture after a while. If I show you it there, see that? A bit lumpy, but it's still okay. It's still usable. But I'm going to use the Powerflow today. So now we've cleaned it off. Now, don't be tempted to stick your fingers in this stuff. If you've got any cuts or nicks, it will burn. So I never do. I use the end of the solder to put it on. Okay, and I'm just going to put that around the outside of our pipe like so. You don't have to do this if you don't want to be really sure, because I'm just doing it because I just want to give you the best scenario that it will take. You can just get away with putting it inside the fitting like so, because once the copper goes inside there, it does make the fitting anyway, like so, and you should see the flux coming out like that. So once again, for the other side, we'll put him in, like, put a bit around the outside today. First of all, with that, don't touch it if you can help it, and push it in. Okay, now we're going to move on to the soldering part. Okay then, it's probably best to wipe off the excess flux there if you can. I'm assuming you just got a little low lamp, one of these little things you can buy for about 15-16 quid, but I'm using obviously a more industrial type because I used to do plumbing all the time. So we'll light her up, okay, and I won't put too much heat on because it doesn't need too much anyway, but I want it to go sort of slowly so you can see it in action. Yeah, it would help if I turn the gas on. Right, I've remembered to turn the gas bottle on this time. It does just die off if you don't light the bottle up. Okay, pull your solder out and put your heat on your fitting. I'm not going to put too much on so you can see it start to go. Now that much, I'm just going to put a gentle grease on, not too much. So you see it start to, the flux start to melt away from the fittings and smoke. Once you see that, pretty much it's going to be able to go. There goes one side. There goes the other side. Make sure of it by running it down. And that's it, guys. A little bit of flame out the end. But that's it done. That joint is done. Don't touch it, whatever you do. Obviously, it's nice and hot. Now, a tinier piece is probably better than more than too much solder, but if you're not sure and you want to really make sure the joint's going to be okay, you can put a lot more on. But it will go kind of blobby and have blobs hanging off the end, which is not really not good plumbing exercise, shall we say. I suppose if you're in a loft or under a floorboard, it doesn't really matter. If you really want to make sure that you can blob loads on it, it will obviously take it. But if you want a neater job that's on the surface going to show, then you don't want to put too much solder on. You definitely don't want blobs hanging underneath the joint. That's it. That job's done now. Just let it cool off on its own. There's no more to do. As far as it goes, the job is done. So I'll pull the camera around so you can have a look at it from that side. I've just put it together on there. And I say it's gone probably a bit dull because I've put a lot of heat and there's only that little bit of copper on there. Basically, that's the job. If you want to do it, you know, have a go. There's something to lose. Do try it. Don't pay for a plumber. Try and do it. If you can do it, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. But that's how easy to do a solder joint, and save a lot of money on compression fittings that cost 10 times the amount of money of those fittings. Believe me, they cost a lot of money. Don't set the place on fire when you do it. There are other things that you could need. If you're against a wall, you will need one of these cloths. This is a heat cloth. You can see where I've caught before, but it's to stop things getting alight, really, like your your wallpaper or wood, or if it's up against a cupboard. And there's another heat cloth, a bit of thicker one again, that I used on the bottom of that. So you may need those as well. So it's got to be worth it to you if you're doing a fair bit of plumbing to get those sort of things and do it. Basically that's it though. Thanks very much for watching. All my videos are on Deriton 33, and thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.